it's Rich Gasaway from Situational Awareness Matters, and I'm in Laverne, Minnesota, at the home of Midwest Fire. As you know, they sponsor the podcast, and then they sponsored live event programs for Situational Awareness Matters, and we're out at the facility, and we're going to take a tour, and Tyler is going to be our tour guide. So, Tyler, let's hit the shop floor, and you tell me what's going on out there.
Sounds good. Alrighty. Well, welcome. A little bit of a happening place. We actually just had a delivery of our poly bodies just come in. So.
Yeah, timed that just for us, right? You told them to stay
exactly.
down the road.
Yep,
okay.
yep.
Cue the new bodies coming in. That worked out perfect. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So no, that's right now we'll obviously unload those. We'll bring in some carts, put them on them, put them outside for now until we're ready to pull them in. But so this is kind of our main assembly area. Off towards the right here is our fabrication. And as for how stuff kind of flows through our facility is obviously paint kind of has the longest lead time out in front of us, so it'll go from a raw body into paint. We'll have two different bodies in paint at one time. The trucks then, the body comes around, actually matches up with the truck that it's going to be mounted on. We'll have two stations before we mount, one station after we mount. Since we're looking at fab over here, fab actually ties in with the first station once it comes in the door. So as soon as that trucks come in, that's their signal to build a pump house and a cradle for that.
Okay.
And kind of how our body construction works with this is we have an aluminum cradle that we build that's sitting over there on the jig table at the moment. That's bolted down to the chassis, and then we actually bolt the tank to that. So,
okay.
So yeah.
All right. So walk me through here and tell me what you guys are doing today.
Yeah. So obviously those guys are working on that. Actually, since we're here, this is just a short little sample area since we're walking past it. Some big things that we've been doing as of late is kind of some lean manufacturing initiatives. Lean is a system, and 5S is actually one of the tools that goes along with that system. So what we have here is kind of basically a place for everything and everything in its place. So we have a red tag area which kind of sorts stuff out that if somebody has something and they don't know if they necessarily need it in that station or if they don't know where it came from, they can bring it here and we disposition it from that point. So whether it needs to go to somebody else or whether it just needs to go to the garbage and not take up room that we need for our precious manufacturing space.
Okay.
And then kind of what we're showing here too, jack stands and a floor jack.
Okay.
So.
Well, compared to some manufacturing facilities that I've been in before, things like this would just end up, when somebody's done using it, it just gets pushed into the corner, and then the next person that's got to use it has to go find where the last person left it, and I guess that can take time, and that time then becomes money, which then becomes cost.
Exactly,
right?
and that's the big thing behind lean is basically looking for that floor jack. That's a waste. That's something that a customer's not willing to pay for. You don't want me to be running around looking for a floor jack. You want me putting your intersection lights on or your pump house on. So that's kind of the thing, is it's reducing all those non-value added waste in the system. So the searching, and we'll go around the corner, there's a little bit of a continuous improvement board that more describes our different wastes that we have. But basically that's the gist of it, is getting rid of those wastes. That helps reduce costs to the customer, and it also improves our lead time, so we can get trucks out quicker and hopefully in a higher quality fashion.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So some of the different things that we've been doing, in our 5S, this is kind of a big communication board. We can see here our 5S checklist. Now that kind of comes into lean accountability, is if you don't set what your expectations are and communicate those out, how can you expect anybody to follow them? So what we're showing here is each of the different areas took and set a whole bunch of things that they want to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and communicate those out, and we actually go through, and each day they check off if they did those things or not. This really helps as well with our preventative maintenance, because we put different things on there. We can see between our paint and our fabrication that, okay, in our paint booths, there's some maintenance we have to do on that. Our booths, clean out different filters, wash them all down and recoat the walls. So that stuff's in there as well. So it kind of holds ourselves accountable too, to say, hey, we need to make sure we get this done this year. It's not just we'll do it tomorrow kind of deal.
Nice.
Now, and then the other side of the board, this is kind of goes along with communication and all those kind of things. This is our scheduling board. It kind of emulates the flow in the shop. So we talked about how we've got two different bodies and paint. Then we move on to, there's basically another section of the board, a column if you will, that's all Stewartville stuff. So pre-pump house comes in, the chassis is pulled in at the pre-pump house station, they're working on the cradle and fab, and then the body's actually sitting in dwell, just drying and curing a little more before we start doing any work on it. What we really found with doing a scheduling board like this is we get together at the end of the day, and it provides a good opportunity for all the operators to get together and bring up issues and bring them to light instead of trying to have to chase me down or other people down. And it also helps them work together a little more and gets that whole teamwork, positive attitude, one of our big core values that we have out here, and helps kind of reinforce that. So.
Nice. Now, you had said something to me earlier about an area where you have the ideas that come in for self-improvement or lean processes or inefficiencies. You got a process here.
Yeah, let's go over and look. This is actually our WEMAD process. It's an abbreviation for We Make a Difference. So basically what we're trying to do here is get these guys to be able to bring up ideas basically and keep moving forward that continuous improvement ideals. So what we have is, we talked about our different waste before. This is stuff that customers aren't willing to pay for. Obviously defects, overproduction waiting, non-utilized employees, transportation, inventory, motion, and excess processing. Those are all individual sections of waste that, like we talked about before, motion, running around and looking for that floor jack. So what we have here are these forms, and it's basically just documenting an idea. And we have the waste up top, so they have a concern in mind, say it is that floor jack, for instance, that I'm struggling all the time because I'm having to run through 3 different stations, try to find this floor jack, and it's never where I need it to be. Well, that's a motion waste, so we're going to do that. We're going to write down that problem statement in the opportunity cause, and then what's our solution to fix it? Well, we're going to make a parking spot for this thing. So once you're done with it, it goes back there. So I know where to find it when it gets back. You know where to find it when it gets back, and there's no more running around searching for that. These aren't from a year ago. These are dated this week. Yes.
Yeah. So all these suggestions come in just this month. I mean, how many can there be?
Pretty much, we've got 30 new ideas that were brought up this month and put on the in-process side, and we've completed this many over here as well. We've met our goal there, which I believe was about 20 or so. So basically, each month we keep cycling over, removing all the ones from the completed, move a whole bunch more over, and getting a whole bunch more ideas in. So it helps all of us here really utilize this system and be able to say, okay, I have an idea and I want to get it out there. How can I show it to everybody? How can I make sure that this gets out in front of people that can either do it, or can I do it myself and actually implement this? So
30 a month, 360 in a year. You probably run out of ideas, wouldn't you, after a year?
Nope, continuous improvement. That's pretty much, we're not aiming for, we're getting to this point and we're stopping. We're going to keep improving and keep getting better day at a time. So, and that's really what we've been able to see here is that, yeah, we don't run out of ideas. Look at them all that are out there.
Right.
So.
I know, it's pretty impressive when you look here and see how many ideas just in the short time span of a month or so as to how many different ideas that employees have for how to make improvement. And then that turns into efficiency, which then turns into a better price, or at least a controlled cost for the customer.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
So what do we got going on here?
So this is our post pump house station. So basically our pre-pump house station, we're mounting the pump up, we're doing the steamers, we're putting up the discharge head, doing some of that kind of thing. Once it moves into this station, we're taking and connecting all the linkages, making the pump panels, bolting everything together, and basically almost completing the pump house at this point. There's still some things that we have to connect up, obviously, when we put the tank on, but for the most part, the plumbing is done in these 2 stations.
Okay. All right. And then what do we got across the way here?
So we can
poly tank?
Yep, we can go over and look at that. That's a fully painted poly tank ready for assembly. with our process, we actually have some dwell time that's needed in between. It gets done in paint, and we start applying our graphics or drilling holes in it or bolting things down. So we actually have this set here for a tact period. Once again, one of those funny Japanese words of about 4 days. So when basically before everything moves, everybody's got to be done in their station. So once everybody's done, everything moves one station forward. So it's not a piecemeal, you know, move this ahead, then this station's dry and all that stuff. We've actually got it so everything flows together pretty nicely. Talking about the poly body, I mean, we go back at it and it really doesn't look any different after it's painted than a steel body or stainless steel, aluminum body, any of that kind of stuff. And it's actually a very workable material. We use standard, you know, industrial grade auto body finishes on it. We take and fill any imperfections, a little bit of body filler here and there, sand it all down, prime it, paint it, buff it. Comes out looking like this.
All right, poly, plastic. Let's talk durability. You know, something bumps up against this. Is it going to shatter? I had a appliance at home recently that had plastic on it, and I dropped it, and the thing just kind of shattered into a million pieces. So somebody backs a car into the side of this truck, is it gonna bust up or shatter or crack into 100 pieces, or how durable is it?
Well, and there's lots of different kind of plastics out there. I think your coffee maker you're thinking of is kind of an ABS plastic that's injection molded. It's pretty brittle. It's durable to a point, but our polyethylene tanks, basically this is 3/4 inch material all the way around, very durable. Basically, we just went through and did a video, and we've actually done some destructive testing in the past with it as well. We've shot bullets at it, we've hit it with sledgehammers, we've taken it to the top of our forklift reach and tipped it off the end. We've drug it around, we've backed trucks into it and all that kind of stuff. We've got it sitting outside, it's back from APR. Basically with that destructive testing, it was kind of nice because we did learn some improvement things from it, but the only thing that happened, it was basically just the side of a body, just like this. The only thing that happened was the bottom of the locker popped out. And basically what we said to APR, our plastic supplier, is, hey, let's take and do there was 2 different kind of welds, let's take and do the stronger weld in here. They did it, so basically we found a product improvement to that. But what we're gonna show with that is that body was all beat up, scratched up, dented up. It went to APR, they welded the bottom into it, took and sanded out some of the dents in the material. We're gonna take and put it through our paint process again and show how durable and reworkable this material is. If you would have done any of that with, say, a steel frame, aluminum frame body, I don't think you'd see that it was anywhere near reworkable. I mean, it would be so twisted and bent out of shape. This stuff is very durable. It distributes the shock load throughout all the material and absorbs it, and we really don't see a whole lot of destruction when we do beat it with things or run into it.
Now, in case it got past somebody, you said you took this body of or the product that the body's made out and shot it with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
A real gun?
Yep. And actually, about the only rounds that would make it through the material, and this was 3/4 inch plastic once again, was high power rifle rounds like a 30-06, and that is pretty much the extreme. You can go up to 50 cal if you really want to, and test something. But 30-06, that's a pretty extreme round. But most actually, I don't think there was a single handgun round all the way up to 45 caliber. There was a 44 mag as well. Did not make it through the material.
So you shot this material with a 45 caliber pistol, and it didn't go through it?
Nope.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Do that with your steel body, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
Have to coat it with steel plating, but
wow, that's
so
pretty crazy.
On durability again, I mean, we've had different, unfortunately, accidents that our apparatus has been involved in. There was a rollover with one. Basically, the tank and body ended up breaking free, but it was all in one piece. It wasn't twisted, it wasn't broke, and I think they were able to put that back on a thing again. And then also, we had a truck get T-boned right basically on the curb side where this door would be. And pretty much they got it back to the fire hall, popped the ROM door out because that was a little bit destroyed, but basically the whole shape, it had absorbed the blow and actually stretched back to its original shape. There was a little bit of dents and scratching and all that kind of stuff, all stuff that could be fixed auto body wise.
Yeah.
Popped a new door in it and it was fine.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. The last time I was here, I got a brief tour and we saw the inventory room, and that kind of stuck in my mind is impressive because of just how organized and clean and the design of that. Can we take a look at that?
Oh, most definitely.
All right. It's just it's impressive. The thing that sticks in your mind is to what you remember from a visit. And I remember this area. And I suspect they didn't just clean it up because they knew I was visiting.
No, and you're not the first person to say that. We've actually had different departments come in and say that they've seen in different shops and all that kind of stuff, and they were very impressed at the level of cleanliness and organization that we had in here. So, and like you said, we didn't do this just because you were coming. This is how we operate. This is one of the big lean concepts, is obviously having the parts that you need so you're not waiting to do work on customers' equipment. One of the big lean philosophies here is our Kanban system. Now obviously, ideally, if anybody's a lean expert and watching, Kanban's not the number one solution. The number one is one-piece flow. There's a vendor handing me a part when I need it. Well, being we're kind of small beans here and all that kind of stuff, we go to the next best thing, which is Kanban. And that allows us to allow for discrepancies in the build process, both option content-wise and weather-related. If there's any blizzards or that kind of stuff, we're not going to starve ourselves. But basically, it prevents us from being parts out.
Kanban, is that an acronym for something, or?
No, it's basically a Japanese word. Once again, that's lean came from Toyota over in Japan, and it's kind of been distributed throughout the United States into different companies because a lot of people saw the benefits to it. Once again, being efficiencies, cost reduction, all that fun stuff that once again a customer's not willing to pay for.
Okay.
So
after you get the inventory down to a certain point, then you have enough to keep you going until the new inventory would arrive.
Yep.
But you don't have a bunch of excess inventory waiting around.
Exactly.
Just cost.
Say, for example, on these direct fill bezels, if there was 3 on the shelf, I took 1 to go out to put on a truck, and the minimum was 2. The operator would pull the card for that, put it in our system. These 2 would get us through that reorder cycle of, say, if it was 2 weeks or whatever, and basically then we'd have another 6 on the shelf again when they were good and ready for them. So,
all right. Good.
Yeah.
Well, this area is impressive just for how clean and organized it is. You got a couple other areas you can show me here, like
we could go out to the test bay. Look at that. That'd be.
Let's do that.
Yep.
Let's go out to the test bay and you can tell me what are we going to see? What are they testing in the test bay?
So basically, we emulate the UL test. There's a lot of different organizations that'll come in and certify your truck to the UL standards, NFPA, all that good stuff. But we actually emulate that test here in our trucks to be able to test it and make sure that it's going to work fine once it leaves and goes to the customer. So we're actually go out here, and there is a customer's truck that is just getting finished up. Actually, I believe there was a customer truck that got finished up pumping, and there's actually a customer delivery going on right now. So I think that's something that we offer when the customer comes to pick up their truck, that we'll train them in the intricacies of their Midwest Fire pump system. And that'll be something that they can bring back to their organization and train their firefighters on as well.
Nice.
So yeah, sounds like they might have just gotten finished or coming in. Basically what we have in here is a 20,000 gallon tank in the floor that we hook up our suction line to, and then our discharges into here, set our pitot gauges, and actually run the test. Now basically there's, depending if you're 749 and below or 750 and above, there's 2 different tests, but the bigger test is actually 4 hours, so we'll take and run that truck for 4 hours at its full rated capacity for those tests, turn on all the lights, burn everything in, and basically make sure that it's ready to go for the customer.
Okay. And this is a customer's truck that's in this stage of the development?
Yep, this is Corks Grove. I forget the state. But yeah, we just went out and did a road test. It's a little sloppy here. It's got nice and warm on this chilly February day.
Yeah.
But we'll take and wash it off once everything's all said and done. Because we bring it out for a road test, run it down the road, make sure it accelerates fine, it decelerates fine, doesn't leak, all that good stuff. So.
Yeah. Now we won't interrupt them over here, but what are they doing over here?
Basically, they're just getting finished up, detailing that truck, fixing a little bit of stuff up in the hose bed, and then that one will be finished up and ready to deliver. That one's going out on Monday.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So we're rolling some trucks through as of late.
All right. And you got one going out today. Let's look at that one.
Yeah, we'll go up front. Always stuff happening in a production facility.
Yeah, right.
Into the non-safety glasses area.
Hopefully they didn't already take delivery. It's still here.
Nope, I think it might be sitting outside though.
Okay.
So yeah, East Bloomfield, New York actually has their truck sitting outside. They just got done doing their pump testing. That's what I was hoping that we'd get to go in and see, but they're just finishing up some paperwork and they'll be taking off for the long trek back to New York from here. But
All right. And that's what they're doing in there is just kind of finalizing all the paperwork and the process. And
But what we have here, there's actually Wells, which is going out next week as well. And that's Wells, Minnesota, so that's somewhere close, a little bit closer to New York. And then we actually have a 3,000 gallon stock unit sitting here.
Nice. So you have some units that are ready to go. If somebody has an immediate need for an apparatus, you might inventory comes and goes, but you might have the inventory of something that they need that they literally could just shop and buy straight out without a custom build.
Exactly, and that's obviously, you look at that, no lead time versus 6 months to other competitors probably a year or more.
Yeah. Now, I would guess because you run a lean facility that you're not going to have 40 or 50 of these trucks sitting around for somebody just to knock on the door and say, I want to buy one. That seems to run a little counter to what the whole lean concept would be. You've got a pretty limited inventory.
Yes, and that's we want to make sure that we don't have 10 of these sitting around, but we've definitely seen that the demand is there to support having a couple of them on hand here and there. And that's kind of the thing that, just like we talked about Kanban back there in the parts room, we can do the same thing with the stock chassis. If someone buys one of these, we put another order in the system to replace it. So, as if we want to keep 2 on hand, well, as soon as somebody buys one, well, here's another one. So.
All right. So this one is this one is going to Wells.
Yes.
So just kind of take me a walk around the truck and tell me some of the features that it has that might be interested to a potential customer.
Well, you can see this is kind of this gets into a real crossover of a tanker pumper. We've got our, typically your tanker, you're not going to be throwing ladders and hoses on, but being that we've gone into this part of the market now, this is something that is actually being demanded by some different departments.
Yeah.
So obviously we've got our ladder complement. It's kind of standard ROM door setups, our SCBA holders and the wheel wells. And then our side control pump compartment. This is a Darley LSP 1000 that we put in here. Standard kind of comes with a couple, it depends on what the customer requirements are. Typically, like, we'll go over there and look at our stock truck. We'll put 2 street side discharges, 1 curb side, 5-inch intakes, 1 street side intake. And then you can order a plethora of other options on top of that, be it deck guns, a 2.5-inch crosslay, foam, you name it, we've pretty much done it. So.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah.
Hi there. I'm back again. How are you today?
Good.
Good? So what do you do here?
I work in the office here.
All right.
Some office stuff.
Okay, off of stuff like what? Do you just make sure the bills get paid kind of off of stuff, or what?
Well, right now I'm matching invoices to pack slips.
Okay.
So we can enter those into the computer.
Okay, so you got like the best seat in the house because you get the all day look at awesome fire trucks, but you got these 30-foot windows here that you get to soak in the sunshine all day long, and not everybody gets to have that kind of a perk. So you got like one of the best seats in the house.
It's a nice view.
Yeah. Does it get cold out here?
Yep, it's a little chilly. Kelsey actually has a space heater back there.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So like
This garage door does a wonderful job of insulating like a garage door.
Yeah.
So
right.
when it's blowing out of the west in here, these guys definitely know about it. So
well, you at least you can report the weather to everybody. You can look outside and say, you can go back there, everybody in the shop that doesn't have windows say, sun shining, raining, it's snowing really bad. Yeah, nice. Well, good talking with you.
You too.
Thanks.
Oop. So yeah, this one's actually got a side widener on it. This is kind of a front monitor option, remote controlled from the cab. We've been seeing a little bit more of this, and I think guys like to use it, say, brush fires, all that kind of stuff if you're running down the road.
So is this a drive and pump?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. This has pump and roll capabilities.
Yeah.
So yeah, that works pretty well for them. PTO driven, obviously. So. Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
And actually, another thing that we've been starting to do more of is our multiplex system in these trucks, and that really, it both helps, get us an edge on technology in the market, but it also helps us on the manufacturing side once again. So we have a little bit more of a plug and play capability with Class 1's modular systems that they have inside of there. So we can control different outputs, be it your warning lights, intersection lights, scene lights, with different inputs, be it these little panels either at the pump control, the rear of the body, or the screen up in the cab, and it allows us to tie different things together or customize it to customer needs depending on what they really want. So
Okay. That's cool.
yeah.
So what Trident air primer? What's that?
So basically that's run off the air system of the truck, and it's, typically you've got your rotary vane primer, which is a mechanical motor with a little vane pump on it that provides your suction. This is actually a Venturi-based system that uses your air and actually creates suction inside your pump with that. Some guys like it. It seems to be a little quicker in certain applications, but the other side of that is I don't know when you'd get into an instant with it, but if you run out of air, you don't have a primer anymore. So
But that's a customer choice item, right?
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yep. So
All right.
so yeah.
Well, Tyler, thank you so much for taking some time to give me a tour of the facility and,
Not a problem.
and allow the viewers to see what you're doing here at Midwest Fire.
No problem. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thanks.